Hello, thanks for watching and joining in again. I hope you're feeling great. Ready, look forward to a year packed full of running adventures, training and racing. I know I certainly am. Which actually gave me pause to thought and, a reason for this video really. Um, with the spring um, fast approaching, thank goodness for that. Those of us that run on treadmills in the winter, that's me, um, due to low temperature injuries, will soon be transitioning back to pavements. Which for me, I just can't wait. I love running outside. Find treadmill running boring to the absolute extreme. And just can't wait for, March, April to come. But treadmill running also, as I find out every single year, isn't that great for you either. Well, I say that it is good for you in the sense that if you're not actually running at all yourself, then, running on a treadmill is good for you, but it's not as good for you as pavement running. So every year, for the last, how long I've been recording my VO2 max for probably about 3 years now, and every year I build up to about, lower to mid 50s in VO2 max. Stop running in mid-November, early November, depending on how cold it is. And then in the 3 months that I'm on treadmills, when I go back to running on the pavements again, my VO2 max has dropped back down to 40, in the 40s. So at the moment, it's actually 47 at the moment. Yeah, so, if you're a serious runner, what do they say? Treadmill running is okay, but running on the roads is better for you if you can get away from the injuries and that. So this video then is for anyone that's getting on a bit, is a current runner that experiences ongoing impact related injuries, or is an older runner thinking about starting a run but's worried about getting injured. So first off the bat, really, what makes me so special that I'm going to advise on, injuries and stuff. Well, I've been running for, a couple of decades now. But after receiving my dementia diagnosis, I started serious running. And what I say by that, I mean I run like 3 to 4 times a week, and the mileage, depending on, the weather and how I'm feeling and all that, varies between 30 and 75 miles a week. I mean, sometimes that can even be longer than that. And in the beginning of this new serious phase, just after I got diagnosed with dementia, over time, I experienced a lot of injuries, and over time I developed a kind of a method of reducing and then almost completely removing injuries. I say almost because I do still get some injuries, but they're minor. I'll fill you in as I go. Basically, it's 5 points that I can give you, which help me, and hopefully they'll help you too. So, bit of controversial opinion, but I have to tell you what I do. I no longer do stretching. I realise that's not going to be a popular opinion, because all coaches and that, they all ram it down your throat. Oh, you've got to stretch. Well, actually, I disagree, but you know, I'm not a professional coach, and you know, you have to take this advice with a pinch of salt. But you know, it works for me, and it has done for, you know, the last 3 years or whatever. So you know, give it a go. What I actually mean by not stretching is not going through a separate routine where you know, for example, stand against a wall or whatever, and you know, stretch individual muscles, etc. I do stretch, but the better way of actually putting it is I get my muscles ready for running by walking. So the muscles are being stretched, and they're being stretched gradually, but not to such an extent, you know, where I'm running off straight away. So what I do is I walk, say, for 15 minutes, or before the actual running, and I gradually, it's actually a gradual process where I start slowly, you know, for the 15 minutes, and gradually walk faster and faster until the point where, you know, you jog slowly and then run. So it's a slow build up. So what I do is, my running route that I do, I actually start off at the co-op, as you know if you've seen any of my videos, and then I'll run along towards the football ground. But before that, I actually walk round the block where I am to warm up, and then when I get to a certain point, you know, where I'm going to start running, then I turn on me watch and, you know, start recording. And I've always found this is a perfect method of stretching for running, because you're using the same muscles for running and walking, so you're not going to kind of like stretch muscles that don't need to be stretched. And I actually kind of like just put it down to the stretching, which was why I was like, you know, getting all these like injuries. So you know, when you're standing against a wall and stretching your calf, quads and glutes, without even realising it, you know, you're going to be targeting other smaller muscles that you don't use that much when you're running. And as I found out in the past, this causes problems for the running muscles because they have to compensate for these other unused muscles, resulting in, for me at least, calf tears. So my first piece of advice is don't stretch, walk. For new runners, try 15 to 30 minutes of varying intensity. Start slow and build into jogging and then running. The second piece of advice or info is relates to equipment. Get yourself a great pair of impact resistant trainers. So ones, you know, with a built for kind of like daily running, and you know, you get a lot of bigger cushion on them, and they're able to kind of like lessen the impact. Yeah, but you have to realise that you're never going to completely remove impact from running, but the goal is to limit it or lessen the impact with running shoes, you know. There's several in the market, and I'm not going to advise on ones I don't know about, so, but for me, my preference is A6 Nova Blast. You can go for 2 or 3, that's the version. But recently, I purchased a pair of Puma Velocity Nitro 2 shoes, and I'm going to be posting a review on those. They're both the same sort of trainer, but obviously the Puma are a lot cheaper, so that's why I went for them. You know, give them a go. I can warm them up at the gym for an hour, and then, you know, come March they'll be ready for, you know, road running. I also use a specialist impact reducing insoles To be honest with you, these have been an absolutely amazing addition to my runner gear. I use, they're called Inerta D3 insoles, so I actually have like a double layer of protection. That's a highly cushioned shoe and a specialist running insole. And if you're interested in using these insoles, I haven't done it now, but I am going to do like a short impact test which demonstrates why these insoles are that good for runners, especially runners who suffer from impact injuries. And when I do that, I'll edit this video and I'll put like a little pop-up thing that'll point to that test, and it'll be up there somewhere. I think that's there, could be there, I don't remember. So that's that, yeah. Point 3 is start to listen to your body. When I run, I watch my legs, particularly those muscles that for me are prone to injury. I mean, that varies on runner to runner. I know, and also I don't mean focus on that muscle like for the entire run, just solely like concentrating on it. I don't mean that. I mean, because you've got to enjoy your run. That's the reason why most of us go. I mean, I look at the world as it's going by me, and I greet fellow runners. I mean, like kind of like just a casual awareness of your legs. And I've actually developed a fullback runner style. If it feels like my calf muscle is starting to complain. So, as a runner myself, a serious runner, it took me many years to learn to run efficiently, to the point where I'm now a mid-foot to front foot runner, but with the caveat that if I detect a problem with my calf muscle, it's normally the left, but sometimes it can be the right, I'd basically just drop the front of mid-foot running style and drop back into a heel strike. And when I do that, I also try to use my quads more than my thighs. I don't know what sort of style you run with, but if you're running mid to front foot, it's harder. It's actually more harder, and there's more impact on your calves when you run like that. So, that could be something else you could just try. I know it's not as efficient, but sometimes I'd rather just be able to get out there and run than not run. Also, a minor point I just wanted to add here was that as an older runner, we can't take a break from running, which is what will happen to us, if we stop running because we're worried about a potential injury, or if we continue to run and actually experience an injury. I mean, like over Christmas. When I actually had a viral throat infection. It wasn't anything to do with a running injury, and I didn't actually run for 2 to 3 weeks. It was 23 days actually I didn't run for, and that had such a substantial impact on my running. It's quite shocking, really. I mean, I went from being able to run for 20 miles at a 7 to 8 minute comfortable pace for me per mile, to only being able to run for like 12 miles at a 10-minute per mile pace, which that's quite a big drop. I think, and in a way as well, that's one of the reasons why the last couple of weeks I've been struggling with motivation for running. I'm still doing it, but I found it a little bit harder to get out the door, whereas like in the summer and in the spring I kind of like, I'm up at 6 and out. For us older runners, stopping even for a short time isn't an option. And an injury could mean many months of no running, which, I don't know about you, for me that would be a complete disaster in terms of my fitness. So, just to recap that little bit there. So try to run efficiently, but not at the expense of injuries. Watch your body, and if it feels like your muscles are complaining, adopt the heel strike method of running, or walk very fast. Before that injury happens, Next point is setting realistic goals. Only run as far as you're able, and don't strive to increase distances or speed more than 10% per week. And also, a lot of people forget this one, it's quite important, only concentrate on one. So only work on either distance or speed, never both, and only then with an increase of 10% a week. So transitioning from winter to summer running, if you're like me and are more prone to picking up injuries in the winter, which I actually got a tiny little calf tear. I think it was in about October. I can't remember, to be honest with you, but that actually put me out of action for a week. And using this method that I'm just talking about, basically I was able to nurse it back and start running again within a week. Whereas before, I probably would have been there for 6 months or even missed a whole season. I'd join a gym basically and run on a treadmill, but I also had a 1% incline to build in a little bit of realism, so it's as close to road running as possible, because a treadmill is never going to replace, like I said earlier, the pavements. It's also important to realise that 3 months running on a treadmill will mean quite a big deficit in your running, efficiency or ability, probably is a better way of saying it. So when you revert back to pavement running, road running, don't expect that you'll be able to run at the same speed as distance on the road as you could prior to treadmill running. So you might have been able to run 20 miles before going on a treadmill on the path, but then go back to road running in March or whatever, thinking that you can still do the 20 miles when you can't. You've unconditioned your legs a little bit, and you're going to have to not start from scratch per se, but step it back a bit, and once you feel comfortable running that distance, then gradually step it up. I mean, perhaps not stick to the 10% rule, but just progress slowly. So what I'll do is I'll start, say, at 5 miles and build from there. If I can do 5 miles and the legs feel good and I feel fit and that, I'll know that next time I go out, I'm gonna try 8 miles or even 10, and then I'll build from there. The reason I do that is to minimise injuries and that. So just to recap, to lessen injuries, 5 minor points here that you could follow along to. That works for me. I can't see why it wouldn't work for you. But you always, any advice I give on here, you always take with a pinch of salt. If you've got a coach, take notes of them. So point 1, walk from slow to fast with stretching, increasing speed until you're able to run. Do this for approximately 15 to 30 minutes depending on your experience, and don't stretch. I bet you'll be surprised like how that minimises your kind of like injuries. Yeah, just by not stretching and walking instead. Point 2, purchase impact lessening cushioned shoes like Nova Blast and Puma, Asics Nova Blast or Puma Velocity, along with the Inerta D3 insoles. Brilliant. I can't, if there's any kind of like piece of equipment that made all the difference to me and lessened, the amount of impact I get, and as a result, less injuries, that's that Inerta D3 insoles. They're brilliant. Obviously, Nova Blast trainers, they came in a close second. Point 3, listen to your body. Develop a mid-foot runner style, which is a lot more efficient. But if you feel like a muscle is complaining, use a heel strike method along with quad muscles or fast walk. Point 4, if you're injury prone in the winter, join a gym and use a treadmill, but add a small incline, 1%. Point 5, never, and I can't stress this more, never assume that you can run as well after a break, even a 1 to 2 week break, or when transitioning back from a treadmill to pavements, because you can't, and if you do, you're going to get injured. I don't know if that helps. I've been working on it. This has been actually working on me for the last 3 years or whatever. But I'd also be interested in hearing your opinion on this and any method that you use, that stops injuries, or also, what you do to transition from a treadmill to, pavement running. So, and if you can do that, I'd be really, really appreciated. You just leave a comment below. I'll read all comments and I'll respond to them as well. Please like, share with friends and colleagues and family. And if you haven't done already, please subscribe. That means a lot. It's funny really, how it works. I mean, I've gone from I had 5 subscribers for quite a while, and then it went from there to 13, and now I'm up to 21. So I know that's not a huge amount of people, but it's getting there slowly but surely. So anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.